Hey guys, a lot of artists and producers seem to be wondering about the difference between mixing and mastering. These two things, so I'm going to talk about it right after the intro coming up. Mixing is most of the heavy lifting, I'd say. It's the actual sound quality. It's where after you export the stems and the instrumental tracks and the vocal tracks, you mix them together into the pre-master. Some people think the master will make your song sound different, or rather better. That's not exactly what it's meant for. I use something called Isotope Ozone 8. A lot of old school engineers seem to dislike Isotope. I think that's because Isotope knows the rules to the point where they're like, okay, these rules are kind of lame. Let's bend them to the point where people can do whatever they want with them without easily fucking everything up. Like, totally. And we're mixing as a bunch of stems, a bunch of wave files mixed together. Mastering, ideally, is a bunch of actual mixed songs put together where you compare the tonal balance of each consecutive song, and it's not like too much of a difference. We're talking the type of difference where you're like, there's a little too much high end on this track. And again, you should always make sure to not let that happen with the mix. The mix should be just as perfect as you can make it. There shouldn't be any crazy clipping. You ever hear those songs where there's so much bass that it almost drowns out the vocals, and there are a bunch of consonants and syllables in the lyrics that really just, they're so fucking loud, and some of them are so fucking quiet that it really just hurts the listening experience and its quality. The mix is also not what determines the ultimate loudness of the song, but if you put dynamic EQ or imaging or some mastering plugin on the channel strip, what matters the most is that it is not a limiter. I try not to use a maximizer on that either. I would use one of those when I'm mastering a track, but I've been producing for 4 years now, and I somehow don't know how to explain the exact differences between limiting and maximizing. But despite the compliments people have given me on my mixing and mastering, because mixing and mastering probably accounts for more music-related money that I make than really anything else, it's not easy for me to actually explain what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. That's the only reason I haven't come out with any tutorials yet. What most people are inevitably going to care about, whether they notice it or not, is, does it sound good? Does it have the best quality sound? Is it the right loudness too? Because a mix can make or break a song, and a master can make your mix totally shine, or it can drown out the mix and all the instruments and the vocals, and they all just sound like they're fighting to get to the top of the totem that is the overall volume. And a mastering engineer shouldn't have to worry about fighting that. A mastering engineer should really just have to worry about the overall loudness of the song. Nothing more, nothing less. It shouldn't sound distorted. It shouldn't sound quiet. Like if it's on a Spotify playlist, for example, it should sound balanced enough that it's compatible with the other songs. At least to the listeners. What I like to tell people overall is mixing is like the cake and mastering is like the icing. So in my experience, that's the difference between mixing and mastering, and my pot pie's ready, so I'm gonna go get that. But what am I missing in the experience of you guys? Like, are there any other differences I didn't even think about talking about? Please let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know if you guys have any ideas you want me to talk about in future videos, and I'll give you a shout out if and when I use them. If you have any questions, please feel free to hit me up. There are links at the bottom of the description to all my social media. Also at the bottom of the description, there are links to my new production kits where you can find all the hardware and the software that I use to make music and these videos. If you buy any, I get commission, which helps me build this channel and keep making these videos for you guys. I made all the beats in this video. If you want to use them, you can find links to each one in the description from first to last, or at samuel.earth/beats. Make sure to leave a like if you like it, subscribe if you haven't already. If you could turn on that little bell to receive a notification every time I drop a new video, that would mean the world to me. Thank you guys so much for watching. You can find me everywhere, and I will see you then.